A man witnessed an alleged spacecraft retrieved in the 1980s and stored at Area 51. That's according to investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who during a recent interview discussed an alleged anonymous source who has contacted the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, an office that investigates unidentified flying objects, about the alleged craft.
According to the source, his great uncle worked at Area 51 and saw a photograph of the object, and according to Coulthart, said it was, quote, absolute proof of non-human craft. Let's hear more about this alleged object that was stored.
He said, quote, the object was egg-shaped, about the size of an SUV, silverish grey in colour, smooth, seamless, no control surfaces or propulsion visible, no writing, no symbols of any kind. A few men could pick it up, yet it could not be cut open and X-rays couldn't penetrate it. The best engineers at EG&G tried to figure out how to activate it and what its power source was to no avail. They finally came to the conclusion it was a probe craft sent here from another planet. This anonymous individual is willing to testify under oath before Congress. He also took a smartphone image of his great uncle's EG&G engineering group and their insignia patch, and he's authorized me to allow us to show that patch, which I'll send you after this chat, and you can cut it in, my friend. This individual has also interviewed with Arrow and has signed and dated an official memorandum of record. And he's also spoken with Tim Burchett as well.
Meanwhile, UFO investigator and co-host of the Weaponized podcast, Jeremy Corbell, says that as many as 40 whistleblowers ready to come forward after David Grush's bombshell testimony on Capitol Hill. Let's watch.
Oh, I think you'll be hearing directly from people that have worked on these technologies, people that might even have their clearances held in a kind of purgatory so they can't leave. I think that you're going to hear directly from people that ran programs, which, by the way, there were supposed to be 2 other legacy UFO program witnesses, one from an agency, that actually have much more of the story than you or me or anybody else. So that didn't happen. That should tell you something. So who are you going to hear from? As long as there's not some major problem that occurs, oh, you're going to hear from everybody involved. I mean, you're going to hear, man, this is something that's coming out. I'm telling you, there's no stopping it now. It's just a matter of vetting it all as you go, piece by piece, to start to understand a different version of what you've been told that reality is.
When's this going to happen, Jeremy? Do you think September?
I do not predict things I do not have direct control and my finger on the button of. But I will tell you, not only have plans been made, they have been enacted to make sure to protect people. How the world handles David Grush is going to change everything.
I want to believe Robbie, but here's my question.
No, I'm the skeptic. You do believe.
Beginning, the nation's highest-ranking Army military officer speaking out about UFOs following Congress's historic hearing. Army General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, is backing the Pentagon's claims that there is no evidence the U.S. has non-human-made vehicles. David Grush, the UFO whistleblower who gave the News Nation exclusive interview, has claimed that the U.S. has a secret alien retrieval program. And General Milley says Grush shared what he believes to be true, but says based on briefings with the Pentagon's UAP office, he has not seen any indications of a cover-up program. Joining us now is Ben Hansen. He is the host of UFO Witness on Discovery Plus. Ben, thank you for being here. Let's dive right in. So what do you make of the general's comment?
Well, honestly, Kelly, it's not all that surprising. If you look at the other statements he made, he said there is a lot of unexplained aerial phenomena out there. That's true. He talked about a lot of the reports they're getting that if there's some of it that's difficult to explain. So we've heard that from the Pentagon before, but I think a lot of people kind of assume that those who are in the highest levels of leadership would know everything. And I know this sounds really kind of conspiratorial, but I think we would be surprised that a lot of our elected officials in the executive department, legislative, and military probably isolate themselves for plausible deniability. And maybe they're not told on purpose because they're going to be the targets that are going to be called out on the red carpet or subpoenaed in hearing. So in my opinion, it's not surprising.
And you were on News Nation's Banfield on Friday, along with retired Rear Admiral of the U.S. Navy, Tim Gallaudet. Now, he talked about his own UFO experience and getting an email about it that disappeared from his inbox. We have the clip, and then we'll come back for a question.
I received an email from a 2-star admiral in charge of the exercise, and he had actually sent it to a number of 1- and 2-star admirals like me in charge of aircraft carrier strike groups and other support commands. And the title of the email was Urgent Safety of Flight Issue. And in the text, he asked if anybody knew what these objects were. And it was the Go Fast video that was attached. And he said, report to me immediately if you do, because we might have to cancel the exercise because of safety concerns. And of course, once I saw that, I knew immediately what was occurring. This is nothing we could have engineered. And then, interestingly, the next day, that email was wiped from my computer.
Now, I found that fascinating. You weren't able to react. I'd like to get your take, though. What do you make of it?
So the Rear Admiral actually reached out to me after appearing one of your shows here on News Nation, because we were talking about USOs, underwater submerged objects, and we started talking. This is a man with an incredible resume and background, right? So he was not only the chief meteorologist, but also the commander of the Naval Observatory. And here he gets, earlier in his career through the SIPRNet, which is secret intranet of the military. And that message has that video in it that we now know comes from, the Go Fast, I believe it was, video. And it disappears. The next, I think he said, day or two, they had a meeting with a lot of these admirals who were on that message list, and none of them talked about it. They were told not to talk about it. So again, more stories of suddenly, kind of a rash, put the information out and then walk it back, and this never happened. So very, very interesting.
Absolutely. We'll stay on it. Ben Hansen, thank you so much for joining us.